This, I don't know who I gave one to earlier, maybe
We
you.
always took pictures of anything.
Okay. You don't need this?
No, I think all right.
It's a list of road closings, you got it?
Yes, I did, yeah, thank you.
So CPO's in the parking lot, it said.
Thanks for hosting round two for all of us.
Yes.
You're very welcome, yeah.
Yes. I saw what was happening as I was on my way here, and I was like, no! I'm not gonna make it.
Did everybody, get the email yesterday that it's actually gonna be at 11?
No.
Or is that why, okay, if you'd like to be on that list for anything that ever happens, and we put out that a briefing will be at this time, get with,
Somebody at one
Robert.
time was on that list, I don't know, as personnel changes, that might have gotten lost. Somebody sent me one that's just basically to an assigned email.
That was
If you-
WDRB+WAVE.
Yeah.
If you all have that, that would be awesome, because I think what I've had in the past was just maybe a certain reporter or somebody's email, and maybe they've came and gone, so.
Yeah.
If y'all wanna update me before we leave, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we had a whole email migration like 6 months ago, and it's just been catching up ever since. Everything was supposed to transfer over, but it hasn't.
Do y'all have like an assignment email?
We do.
That's
Some
what
of them have newsroom, whatever.
Yeah, they all vary a little
And then
bit.
whoever's on duty, they give, you know.
Yeah, cause like our shift starts at 10:30, so it's like. We can move tables if y'all need us to move tables and stuff too.
Do y'all need a microphone on the podium?
We got one up.
Just put one up, thank you.
Okay, how about you?
I think we're good. I think we're all good.
Here you go, sir. You need what?
I've got my other one, so I can.
Can we grab this wireless?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the right side.
Oh, crap, okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Never good.
Okay,
Everybody square?
we're good, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Good afternoon, my name is Dave Roberts, and I'm the Public Affairs Officer with the Carrollton Police Department. It's DAVEROBERTS. I'm going to supply you this afternoon with some information as it pertains to the flooding event and the effects in the Carrollton city limits, as far as the police department there goes. First thing I want to talk about is some shelter locations that we have in the area. We have opened up several shelter locations to the residents of Carroll County. General Butler State Park has 206 residents that is seeking shelter there, plus staff that's there to accommodate them. They have the ability to accept about 30 more residents there should the need arise. Camp Kysock, on 36 in the limits of Carrollton has 75-plus staff that is being housed at that area. And should the need arise for any more, we have the Carroll County Fairgrounds will be opened, and any overflow will be going to the fairgrounds. If there is anyone that needs shelter or that needs a place to go, we suggest that you call 502-732-7060. And I just want to reiterate that that is for shelter purposes only. If you have an emergency, then as always, you need to call 911. If you need the police department at 732-6621, contact them there. That number is the previous number, 7060, is only for shelter purposes should that need arise. We have 6 areas that has been listed as mandatory evacuation within the county. The first place is Prestonsville. We have that listed right now at approximately 70 to 80% evacuated. Greens Bottom, which is at 80% evacuated at this time. Happy Hollow, which is 50% evacuated. The Blue Lick community is 100% evacuated. And Lock Number 1 Road is 100% evacuated, along with Lower Mason Street in the limits of Carrollton is also 100% evacuated. And if you notice, some of those areas are not 100%, and that is our goal, to have all those areas at 100% evacuation. Everybody has been contacted. Our officers and emergency management personnel has been to those areas and requested that people leave. They cannot be forced to leave their home, although we have stressed to them that should the waters continue to rise and it become emergent, that we may or may not be able to get to them to rescue them at that time. And we want to reiterate to those folks at this time that it is important in those areas that you do leave your residence if you have any anticipation that that water is going to get high enough that you might need rescue. The road closures throughout the county, we have several inside the city limits of Carrollton. All of Point Park is closed at this time. 2nd Street is closed. Water Street in the limits of Carrollton is closed, along with Mason Street in the 400 block. The west side of Carroll County includes Hampton Lane, Notch Lick, US 42 and 36 at the intersection, Old Carlisle Road, Kentucky 55 and 389, Kentucky 55 and Mound Hill, Lock 1 Road, Kentucky 389 and English at the railroad tracks, and Kentucky 389 and the 1000 block is also closed, and Old Gilgal at Sheehan Road is currently closed. Mill Creek Road is closed, and Carlisle Road is closed in the 3900 block. On the east side of Carroll County, including Worthville and Sanders area, is Goose Creek and 227, Goose Creek and South Kendall Road, Highway 467 at Buffalo Creek Road, Highway 467 at Jackson Ridge Road, Kentucky 36 East in the 14,000 block. Happy Hollow is closed. Lewis Road in Gent is closed, along with Black Rock is closed. And that is a complete listing of the roads that are closed. We do ask at this time, we ask for prayer for our community, for our first responders in Carrollton, not only in Carrollton, but throughout the state of Kentucky and other states across the United States that is being affected at this time by this natural disaster. Because there's a lot of other places. We happen to be in Carrollton right now. There's a lot of other people that's affected by this tragedy as well. I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have at this time. A lot of the questions may not be for the police department. It may be more geared towards the local government, the mayors here, or the emergency management team.
Do you have those percentages of how many people evacuated? Do you know what the number is? Like how many, like 500 people? 1,000 people?
I do not have, all I can give you is the number that we currently have at our shelters. And that's 206 at Butler, and we have 75 at Camp Kysock right now. That doesn't incorporate who might have left and went to family members or somewhere out of town. So.
Have you had to make any water rescues so far?
There has been 2 water rescues that's been conducted, and I think Mr. Ratliff, the emergency management coordinator, will speak to that here in a moment.
Can you just talk about in comparison maybe how it's looked, and then compare it to
I think that's probably gonna be a better question maybe for the mayor. I wasn't here in 1997. But from what I understand, it's gonna be very similar to 1997, but he would probably be a better person to ask that.
Has the river crested yet? Have either Kentucky or Ohio rivers crested yet? When do we expect them to crest?
That'll be a better question for them, not really a police issue.
What has this been like for you guys as first responders? I mean, it's not every day you're dealing with massive flooding, so I mean, what's the impact like for you guys?
Well, it's just a different, and policing is a different challenge every day. And our guys are very adapt to the different issues and overcome. We work very well with the local fire departments and emergency management team who is better coordinated to handle those type things. So we kind of, as far as the policing end of it, we kind of learn from them as we go and assist them. Okay? If you don't have any other questions, I'll let our emergency management coordinator, Mike Ratliff, he'll be able to answer some of those questions as well.
All right, my name is Michael Ratliff. I am emergency manager. I'm sorry, I'll go ahead and spell my name. Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. Last name is Ratliff, R-A-T-L-I-F-F, as in Frank. And I am the emergency management for Carroll County and also director of the EMS as well. I'm going to give you all a operations report on what all kind of activity we've had as far as with responses. And right now we've had 3 rescue call-outs right now for water rescues. Actually, when we got there, we only had 1 that had 2 actual rescues. And the people were brought to EMS, checked out, and then were not transported or anything, so they were okay. No injuries or anything reported, no fatalities or anything. The other 2 responses, they got there and there was nothing, they were all cleared up and nothing there for them to respond to. Then right now we are set up, we have 4 rescue boats in place and ready to respond to anything with 15 personnel from our local departments, from Gent Fire Department, Westside Fire Department, and Carrollton Fire Department. We have 3 ambulances staffed and ready to respond to any calls. And because right now with the water, we are kind of cut off from the west side of our county. So we have an agreement with Trimble County right now, who has graciously agreed to assist us, and they put on an extra truck to assist that as well. They're going to respond to our west side of our county since we're kind of cut off to certain areas over there to help our response times, because if not, it would take us a long time to get over to that area. But we greatly appreciate their assistance and help in that, and gives us a great deal of help. Then on top of that, we've had a great deal of calls from multiple different agencies around us, and we greatly appreciate that as well. So far, up to this point, we've managed to manage everything ourselves, but we really, really appreciate all the calls that we've been receiving from all the surrounding agencies around us. I can't say enough how much we appreciate our responders, our city and county government, because they have been a huge support to us. Pretty much everything that we needed, they have provided for us and assisted us. And then on top of that, the state EMA has been a great resource for us and been working with us closely throughout the entire event. And then we've had volunteers, we've had multiple different city and county employees and personnel on board who have been working tirelessly at the EOC 24 hours around the clock for multiple days now, and probably for multiple more days. And, you know, these people are dedicated, poured a great deal of time and concern for their community. And they're an amazing group of people, and it just shows how our community can really come together and for the greater good. And again, I can't say enough about our community and how they've all come together. And there's been a lot of other people outside in the community offering resources and volunteering and whatever pretty much we can need at any point in time. So greatly appreciate it. So at this point, any questions?
Mike, can you talk about how American Red Cross, I know they're in town helping, can you talk a little bit about what they're doing, what they're providing residents?
Okay, so they brought in a trailer that had cots and blankets and different resources on that side, water. They've also assisted in manner of if we need meals or anything at our different sites. There's also a kind of a liaison and stuff with them. So just multiple different tasks. They're also providing, being there at the sites and just giving support to the people there at the sites. Sorry.
Okay, do you know how long they'll be in town for?
Not sure on that. I guess it really depends on how long our event carries on.
How high is the river right now? When do you expect it to crest?
From the last time that we know of, we are expecting it to crest tomorrow morning, somewhere around 2 to 4 in the morning, and should be, I believe, around 54 feet, if I'm correct. I think that was the last numbers we got. We were trying to keep up with the Wilmington, with their reports and stuff constantly, and the state EMA trying to keep information constantly.
Is that the Kentucky or the Ohio?
Kentucky, I'm sorry. I want to clarify that, make sure everybody understands Kentucky, because that's the river that is causing us the biggest impact for our area at this time. We have some minor flooding coming from the Ohio, but the Kentucky is causing us the biggest issues and concerns at this point in time.
What's it like for those first responders who, they're from this community, and so they're helping their own, people out? Are any of them, have they been first infected, have they had to evacuate, but still go out and assist the people during this time?
Well, our West Side Fire Department, which is right across the river in Prestonville, they had to move all their trucks out of their station. They had to move multiple things out of there, so it has directly impacted them greatly. The local fire department here at Carrollton is allowing them to put their equipment inside their station and operate out of there. So it's impacting them. Personally, family-wise, I don't think that anyone has been directly impacted on that side, but they could have. I don't want to speak to that completely. Don't know that answer for sure. But just the stress of the hours that has gone on and the days that we've been doing this, the physical and mental stress is really difficult at this time. And we're getting ready to go into the cold weather today, tonight, and tomorrow, and so on. So we are going to be closely monitoring that, and there's that concern for anybody that we have any kind of rescues or anything like that from this point on with the cold weather, if we have to deal with any of them type situations.
And what are those concerns? I mean, we could talk hypothermia. I mean, it's imperative that people are not in the water.
Yes, hypothermia being the biggest concern. If you're out in that water for very long, you're going to get hypothermia in a very short period of time. So we don't want to see people getting out in that water and you're going to drown if you're out in it for a very long period of time. You're not going to last very long in cold water. Now, I know the water is probably going to be a little bit warmer than what the temperature is going to be, but it's still enough that you're going to get hypothermia pretty quick. So we just want to do everything we can. We have an ambulance responding with rescue units at all times for any water rescues involved from starting this morning on. I directed that earlier today to make sure that we had an ambulance on every call for the first responders and for any patients that were on scene.
And what level is the Kentucky River at right now? How much more will it rise between now and 2 and 4 a.m. when you think it'll crest?
I didn't get a read on exactly where we were right now, but I believe we were going to go up another couple more feet, if I'm correct on that. I don't want to mislead anybody and say something incorrectly, but I thought that we have a gentleman at our EOC who's kind of monitoring that, and he's been giving us reports throughout, and I believe he told me at some point earlier that we were going to go up maybe a couple more feet. I believe that's correct.
Will we spotted a helicopter in the sky today. Do you know who they're associated with?
It could be an air medical.
Okay.
It was out there live.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's one of your all's news helicopters, okay. We have air medical helicopters come into the hospital down here locally all the time, so.
Well, just anything else about how big of an event this is, you know, how everyone's dealing with it, any advice you want to toss out to people?
Well, I will say that this event was believed to be, going to be a much worse event than what it has come out to be. So thankfully, on that side of things, we have a little bit of a sigh of relief on that side of things, but we still aren't done yet until it gets to wherever it's going to crest, and we see that. So we're not done yet. So once we get to that point and we get further into this, you know, then it'll be a lot better. But I think they were saying that this is kind of similar to 2018 to some degree. But at one point, they were saying it could be like 1937 or something. I don't live, or I wasn't here during the 2018. Rob was here, the mayor, and he can speak more to that kind of stuff and when he comes up and speaks to you all.
That 2 feet is going up, you know, very strong contrast, the difference between, you know, nothing and catastrophe or, you know, small problem, big problem.
The 2 feet is gonna not be too big of a deal at this point in time. I don't, again, you know, at this point, I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. You know, it could cause some more flooding, could block off some more roads, but at this point, I don't look for it to cause a huge issue at this point. Any other questions? All right, Mayor Adams?
Thank you, Mike. My name is Rob Adams. I am the mayor of Carrollton, spelling ROBB ADAMS. So let's start with your questions because it sounds like I may be able to clear some of those up and then I can elaborate throughout whatever you need to know.
Should we start? Oh, go ahead.
First question is gonna be, you know, your fusion yesterday with Dick's Dam. Who told you, I guess, where the information come from and?
I expected that question, right?
I think you did.
Um,
And
so,
was there more water with that?
So I will elaborate on that. For several days now, we've had the Ohio River predictions and we've had the Kentucky River predictions. And living in Carrollton, geographically located on the river, we have some idea of what that's always going to do and where that water's going to be, right? We had planned for that and we've been watching that closely. We started evacuations last Friday when our EOC was activated. And the first group that was moved was a personal care home from out in the county. And that concern there was headwater, flash flooding. So we were watching the backwater. We got everyone situated, shelters open, up and running. And at 11 a.m. yesterday, we got a call from the state emergency management via live Zoom call that Mr. Ratliff and the area manager of Area 6, who is here assisting us, they both attended that call live. And they passed that information along to us as EOC staff. Coming out of that call was that 10 gates at Dick's Dam had been opened accidentally. And the information they relayed to us was with a great sense of urgency on what the effect would be. At that point is when they strongly urged in our low-lying areas that we are familiar with locally to start mandatory evacuations. We took their advice, we did that, and released a video, released a written statement from the county level, was shared on the city's Facebook page, and then the live video that you've probably seen basically just verbally stressed to the individuals what the memo said. About 3 hours later, we got a call from the same source out of Frankfurt that said the gates were not accidentally opened, that it was a planned release. And that planned release of those 10 gates started Friday, and that information was communicated. The information, now as I tell this story, you can quickly realize somewhere there's a breakdown in communications between the operators and owners or controllers or somebody having authority over the gates at Dick's Dam to emergency management down to local officials. Not sure where that breakdown was. This is not the time to debate that, nor will we, but we will dive into that at a later date because we need to ensure that doesn't happen again, right? I put out a video of stressing the sense of urgency that they relayed to us, and it would have made sense to me that everyone along that Kentucky River corridor would have been affected between Dick's Dam and here in Carrollton. So they reference points along the way of communities and locations that they thought may be affected, which was Carrollton, up to Lock 2, which is in Lockport, which is Henry County, and then all the way up to Lock 3, which is in Owen County. So as you can see, this backtracks up the Kentucky River corridor, and it seemed to me that everybody would be impacted along the way. The judge executive from Franklin County released a video a little bit later, contraindicating any effects that it may have on them, and stated that it would not have any effects on Franklin County and the city of Frankfort that they didn't already anticipate. Apparently it affects them a little different or none at all. But it did impact Carrollton. And now the impact that we have seen was greater than what we've been watching all along since the notification of the gates being open. And we have seen an impact. We haven't seen the impact that they prepared us for. We're not so much aggravated and confused over the impact that they said it may be that it turned out not to be, as we are the confusion. We appreciate the heads up, and we would rather be proactive. That's where the video I released kind of comes into question here. As elected officials, it's our job and our duty to protect the people that we care for and that we serve, and not sit on information. When I released that video, it was the exact information and the exact sense of urgency that I released that was passed along to us. When we found out, again, from the agency out of Frankfurt, that was not accurate, I went back and did a second video correcting that. But at the time, we're not the National Weather Service. We're not the Markland Dam predictions. We're not the state emergency management. But we do have to rely on those sources for information. So we pass along information as we get it, as accurately and as promptly as we can, which is what I did. And then cleaned it up later with their corrected information. Again, their information. The end result is it did impact Carrollton more than we thought, but not what they thought could happen. So at the end of the day, whether it was accidental or not, planned or not, urgent or not, at this point we appreciated the heads up and we prepared for that, which is exactly what started our emergency mandatory evacuations based on their recommendations. So worst case scenario, we were prepared, and again, we are glad to be proactive and appreciate that information. We just want to try to eliminate that happening again of the breakdown of communication. Not here to point fingers, and when we dive into that, we won't be pointing fingers. I think we just all need to be at the table and try to eliminate that happen again. Because, that can instill fear. And while we're trying to stress the importance of something, whatever it may be, and the urgency of it, we don't want you to panic at the same time. So there's a fine line there that sometimes we have to juggle to work through. So that's kind of the story of how that's transpired and how we got to where we are today.
When you say you saw impacts, was that today or was that between Friday and today?
That was since yesterday and now. That call was originated about 11 o'clock yesterday morning. And what I mean by additional impacts is I don't have those exact numbers in front of me right at the moment because we got several sets of numbers that we've dealt with. But if it was going to be 55 feet, let's just say, and we knew that all along, and that's what we had planned on. And they call and say, we don't really know what this is going to do. We don't have a gauge for this. Plan for the worst. And they referenced 97 or worse floods. That's what we did. So it did increase what we had been watching, but it didn't get anywhere near what they thought it may do, which we're grateful for that. We're extremely grateful for that, and I think everybody here is.
Can you talk about the comparison, 97, 28?
I can. So we typically, when we measure river levels here in Carrollton and we're watching river levels, we typically monitor the Markland Dam lower pool gauge. In 1997, that crested at just barely over 60 feet, just 60 point something. The newest update today, as of an hour or so ago, is it's going to crest at 57.7. Now they had, until an hour or so ago, they had it at 58.5. So the newest update today is they've backed off 8 inches. So it's going to be about 3 feet projected, lower than 97. And we expect that crest to happen sometime within the next 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours.
2018, is this more severe than 2018?
It is. It's 2018, we didn't have near the road closures. I do believe that was 52 feet. I can't remember that number, but this is going to be a lot closer to 97, but a lot more than 18. So.
And we're still talking about the Kentucky River, right? Not the Ohio River.
The flood overall.
Yes.
In comparison to the flood overall, it's going to be just shy of, looks like about 3 feet less than 97, but more than 18.
Obviously, cleanup is going to be a major issue, and I know maybe that's not on your mind right now. But
It is. When you, in my position, along with the HOEO staff and emergency personnel, when you're wired that way, you have to think that way, right? So we've done a lot of work through setting up shelters, activating the OC, getting people into shelters and some evacuations. We've done some work, but we haven't done near the work yet that we will when it comes time to clean mud, open roads, assess roads for damage, assess equipment and playground and buildings and structures for damage, and then you get into the cleaning, disinfectant, remodeling, rebuilds. The real work hasn't began yet. So.
we saw Carrollton Utilities out. Can you talk a little bit about what they're doing, or are they just shutting people down?
Carrollton Utilities has kept an eye on several things through the whole event. They've been a part of the EOC staff with our 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. briefings since the Emergency Operations Center has been activated. They have several gas stations, natural gas stations. They operate the largest municipal gas company in the state. And so we supply a lot of gas to industry and even outside of Carroll County. So it's a pretty big system. And they've been keeping an eye on all the gas stations. They also do water and sewer. So they have to make sure that infrastructure, any infrastructure piping-wise that is located along riverbanks, it could be washed out and breached. And we did have a water main break about 2 hours ago that affected a large portion of the west end of the county that was repaired pretty rapidly, and they're back online. They are under boil water advisory, and we have that notification going out to those affected customers, but it was repaired rather quickly. That's a great group of highly trained individuals at Carrollton Utilities. So appreciate their work.
And that water main break, the boil water advisory, is that more so for the western part of the county?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
people, can they still leave to evacuate?
So truly, I believe we're right there to, we're within less than 2 feet of cresting. At this point, while that means it's still coming up, it's slowing down, and we have a better gauge. We're within 2 feet of about where it's gonna be from here. It is highly likely that if they have not evacuated yet, the ones that decided to stay may be okay. Now, we will continue to monitor it throughout the rest of the rise of this 2 feet in case it should affect someone. But if they're not evacuated at this point, it looks like we're heading toward the safe zone on evacuations.
And when do you think people may be able to start getting back to their homes?
The personal care home from out in the county that I spoke with, that was that was evacuated on Friday, is in the process literally as we speak. They were going back at 2 p.m. today. But they're not affected by backwater. That was headwater. So we wanted to make sure the backwater wasn't going to, and it didn't. So it is safe for them to go back. So we've started that process for that portion of the county. The other portions of the county that are evacuated due to backwater, even though we're within 2 feet of Creston, we got to get to 2 feet first, and then it's going to stay there for a few days, and then they recede. So they could be in their current given locations for several more days. So.
I know in Louisville, MSD, they were talking about their stormwater basins and systems kind of being overworked, asking people to limit their usage of water. How does it work here in Carrollton? Are you guys asking?
We've not had any effects or any threats at all to our water system, other than if you were to have a line that runs close to a creek that may have been washed out. That's going to be an isolated location, an isolated repair. As far as the water treatment plant, no problems at all, nor do we ever expect that. Reservoir water, or the water tanks are full, pumps, the water plant will not be affected, and we run a regional sewer plant from Carrollton, Carroll County, and other cities and counties, and we do not expect any problem or any impacts there at all. Anything else? Thank you all. Appreciate you coming.